All right, I'm live now. Uh, I don't know. I don't think anybody's watching right now, but this is a good way to test to see how things are looking. Um, if I click here, I think I'll be able to see it. And I'll be able to see everybody's comments and stuff right here. Right? All right. This is the only mic that should be working. Okay. Oh gosh, I got 6 people watching. Sorry guys. I'm trying to just get this to work because we're going to do a live stream tomorrow. This is the best way I know how to do it. I don't do it very often, so I want to make sure this is all working well. But maybe I'll actually compose something. Okay. Thank you, Johnny. So check it out. This is kind of cool. I know. I feel like I'm a little bit of behind the times here, but I can this is the right side of my screen, right? And so we can show the mixer. Now, obviously, I use Digital Performer, so hopefully that's not a barrier for people who are watching. But the point is, we've got all this Musio stuff. It's all Musio is my template. This is my full screen. I think you can see that. And then here's just me. Hi. And we'll kind of go from there. I'm actually going to compose some. I have to write some music for a game right now. My buddy works over at this VR company called Another Axiom. And they make this popular VR game. It's for the MetaQuest. It's called Gorilla Tag. If you have kids, I'm sure you've heard of Gorilla Tag. They all play it. And for Christmas, I got my kids. I surprised them with a MetaQuest headset. So we have 3 of them, and so they play in the living room. Anyway, I don't know why I'm saying all this, but we're doing good, right? We can see everything's looking good. Great. Hey, Robert Rodriguez, how you doing, man? Yeah, man. I got to get back into this. I've haven't done this in a while. And I feel like it's good for the community. But I'm tempted to just start composing right now. I got time. I literally have to write this cue today. So should I do it live? Yeah, tomorrow, Robert Hostetter. Nothing in particular. Just a time to get the community together and talk about Musio. And I thought I could just show my template and show you how I've worked with Musio. I've been writing a ton of music for stuff, and I feel like other people might gain some gain some skills and ideas for their own music. I've always found it valuable to watch how other people create music, and then I can kind of steal a few ideas and then apply that to the way that I work. Because what I've heard is I've heard a lot of the tracks that people create on the Musio Discord, and a lot of them are very good. But what I hear a lot of things that could be tweaked if people kind of knew some basic fundamental ideas. I think they could really upskill their abilities if they just understood a few things, and I thought I could talk about that. So, yeah, why don't I write something? I'm going to write this cue. So this is it's a battle track I have to write. Maybe I got to get some water. I'll step out in a second here. But I have to write. It's like a 3-minute track. It's battle music, and it has to be for the for Gorilla Tag, and maybe I can do that right now. It's gonna be awkward. I've never done this with like people watching. Well, I have, but like never for a professional gig. So, shall we do it? Let's do it. Let's get started and see how it goes. What do you say? But I'm going to announce. Wait, here. Why don't I tell you what? I'm going to go grab some water, and I think I need to eat something. But I'll come right back and I'll announce this, and we'll just start composing with the community. We're doing this really like low key here. There's no announcement. I'll be right back. One sec. Hey. Okay. Let's do stuff. Let's just compose some stuff. Let me announce it first. See if anybody on the Discord wants to watch. But I'm also going to do this tomorrow. Let me see here. One sec, I gotta grab the link, copy link. This is generally how I roll. I just kind of like start doing stuff. All right. Okay. Let me put this back to, there we go. Let me see. Well, there's our Discord. I just announced on the Discord. Oh. And that. Okay. I think we're all set. So I can see your questions here. I have my phone set up over here, and as your questions come in, I'll peek over, and I'll try to answer stuff as I go. But I'm just gonna write. I have to write some music today. I'm working on, as I mentioned earlier, a game called Gorilla Tag, and I need to write an action music cue today. I have to write about 3 minutes. And cool. So my setup here, just so you know, I'm using Digital Performer. My entire template is all, I don't know if you can see up here at the top, this is the, we call it a VRAC in Digital Performer, and these are all the virtual instruments. Each one has about 16 instruments, all Musio. You can see, you know, here's a couple of instances. And if you peek over here to the left, this is where I've set it all up. So I've got, you know, all the kind of custom or like sort of cue specific stuff I put at the top. And then as we go, I've got sort of the sketching ensemble patches. Those are the things that I tend to start with. And I highly encourage you to do that as well. Work with ensemble patches. And then we've got strings here. Strings are the first thing at the top. I like to have the strings at the top because those are the most used things for the kind of music that I'm writing these days. And we got the horns and the brass right here. Brass means trumpets, trombones, and tuba. Traditionally, we always say brass. Horns is always one of those weird, like, is horn a brass instrument or a woodwind instrument? There's always that debate. I think it's a brass instrument, but we put it in its own section. Then we have the woodwinds. These are all the key switch patches in Musio. So I can switch between all the different articulations if I want to get really nerdy with this stuff and craft the performance. And then I've got the piano, bells, and harp. I call it PBH, sort of a standard. You know, in LA, this is sort of a traditional way. You want to separate these things out. That would include the celestes, the vibraphones, the mallet instruments, any pianos. And then we have orchestral percussion. We call it the bread and butter orchestra stuff. And then we've got metallic perc, wood perc, epic perc, and then we put some the choir stuff we put at the end, at the very bottom, because they're not singing all the time. It's a kind of a random, less common thing. All right, I'm gonna write something. Here we go. No euphonium. Oh, I do. Let's look. I think I do. Of course I have euphonium. Are you kidding? Yeah, look. 3 euphonium, legato, staccato. We got Wagner tuba. Don't worry, I got you. All right. So, you can see I have a little camera here pointing at my keyboard. This isn't the ideal setup, but it should give you the idea. I just have a simple, my setup is intentionally very simple. I just have a 61 key keyboard. It's an M Audio keyboard. This is not an expensive keyboard. The key is that it has keys and it has faders. We want to have faders. Faders are very important if you're going to buy a keyboard. I mean, I've seen some of the sort of smaller keyboards, and they tend to have these knobs for controlling the dynamics and volumes and all that stuff. For me, that's a little bit harder to deal with this kind of music. If you're writing more sort of soundtrack orchestral kind of stuff, you really want to have this, because then, you know, if you're pulling up let's say just here's a strings patch. You can really control it a lot. And you perform with your right hand and then perform the volumes with your left hand. So it's like learning an instrument. Learning Musio is like learning an instrument. And if you can get really good at it, you can get really fast. And hopefully I can try to demonstrate that today. All right, stop talking and compose something, Mike. All right, so the idea for this one, I got the brief, and we need to do, it's kind of like we use the marimba as a general tone, and it's the Cineperc marimba as the sort of sound of Gorilla Tag. And so I'm going to start with that. I'm trying to think, should I? Yeah, All right, we'll do that. We got the hard mallet. We also have a soft mallet. Right? There's different. There's a million. You know, you go to a professional percussionist, they have a million different types of mallets. And I think we got, you know, hard, soft. I believe we got medium for that one. I got to check. So let's come up with like a, you know, our tempo. Okay. We just need like a pulse, something that's like a rhythmic idea. So we'll just start writing. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Just start with a basic idea. I tend to kind of go in there now. I will quantize just sort of in the moment. And, you know, the composer, this is what I love about it, is you're painstakingly choosing things and you're... Yeah, okay. So, I think the hard mallet might be better. Yeah, it's better. Okay. We're gonna, now, I'm not promising that what I'm going to write today is any good, okay? I might have to just turn the camera off and focus. This is really weird to have... How many people? 13 people watch you compose, but... You know, just a pulse, something that's... You know, okay, it's a little too repetitive, so you're going to go in there. Bum, bum. You know, maybe go up to the B flat. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum. Yeah, you kind of just hear it in your head. Something like that. And, you know, that way it's not exactly like this annoying repetitive thing. All right. You know, since you guys are watching, I'll just show you, you know, in terms of reverb, I have this, again, with the sort of mission of keeping everything simple. I use this. This is not even the fancy version of the Liquid Sonic 7 Heaven. This is the cheap one. And I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I use the scoring stage preset, and everything kind of goes through that. If you can see my mixer, I've got bus 1, 2 is going to the final kind of like mix down, and bus 3, 4 is the send. Everything has its own send to this reverb channel. Oops. And I can set different sections of the palette can have different, you know, amounts of reverb. So like short strings can have a little bit less reverb than say long strings or something like that. So that's it. It's really simple. And then when I record it all down, I just record it to a stereo file, you know, up here. You know, I know I'm jumping around here, but you know, it'll record there. And then once I have this, I will go and I'll do the actual mastering. And of course, like everyone, I use Ozone, which I know it's kind of like cheating, but when you're moving fast and the budget isn't great and you can't afford an engineer, this is it. Just do this. Find, a good preset. I just use a cinematic one and then tweak some of these values, and and stuff like that. And then I bounce that track and then I send it to the client. And that's it. That's like, we don't have to overthink this stuff. Okay? So, let me switch over to the left side of the screen. How cool is this? I can switch things around. Hi. Oh, that's the whole screen, by the way. That's my side. I got a big monitor right here. It's just a big monitor. I have a Mac Studio, sort of the older one, the M1, the original. I've got this affordable M Audio keyboard, which I think you can get for under $100. A sustain pedal, very important. And that's it. Headphones. I do a lot of listening with headphones. I do have speakers that I use just to check things, but overall, I think, especially if it's a VR game, I'm going to use the headphones to get an idea of what the player is actually going to hear. So, all right. Again, I don't know if I'm going to write anything great today, but we're going to just do it. So back at it. We're doing a marimba-based action track. One of the things that we also talked about is, I'm going to actually, this is from an older cue, so I'm going to remove all this stuff. I was writing some spooky music. Those are all the sort of extended techniques. I'm going to pull up, sorry. I think we should go with the African percussion. And I'm going to just load up a template that has a lot of that stuff. So, let's try. I don't know how boring this is to watch, but this is just how I work. Delete the template, and then always if you add sounds. So all my stuff that's cue specific, I call it, I put it at the top of the template. I'll load a sound. I'll check to see, is this the right one that we want? I think there's a bit too much reverb, so I'm going to just lower the send knob on that one. Something like that. I don't know if that's the right instrument, but just load stuff, and then see if it's good as you play it. Well, this could be kind of interesting. Maybe that one. Maybe as we close to open. Sure. What's this? Yeah, so do some of this stuff. Do we need the flute? I don't think. No. Just focusing on percussion right now. Yeah. Just generic African drums. It could work. Maybe. Yeah, we'll go with this djembe, I think. We do have the Cineperk djembe. It's different. It's more in a big... This was actually recorded in South Africa. We flew over there in Cape Town. Sure. Some shakers and stuff. I think that works. Yeah, we'll need some low end. Okay, I know it's just I'm randomly doing stuff. Now, this is important, everybody. Label your tracks. Always. Oh, wait, I have the bass drum already up there. So, it's annoying, but I'm telling you, it's going to make your day so much better. You know? Anything can happen, right? It's technology. Things can explode. It's worth the time to do this. Natural tuning. Blah, blah, blah. I'm sure it'd be cool if someone could just create like an automated way of doing this. I'm sure there might be sequencers that do that. Does Cubase allow you to just automatically, port the names over so you don't have to do this? All right, but that's all there. So, what a cool instrument. Okay. I'm always discovering stuff that I'm like, wow, we sampled that? Okay, maybe it just needs a little, okay. So, here's the next tip. Don't spend forever just exploring sounds. There's a lot of just wasted time there. So just choose stuff and then go. The key is to be I believe that being fast. I think that being fast is an extremely valuable asset. As a creator, you're going to get, I'm not like a famous composer or anything, but I've gotten a lot of work because I've made a reputation for being, I guess, the guy who's fast. I can make it good too. But I'm fast because a lot of the stuff we have to write is kind of fulfilling a need. So anyway. All right, let's just try the djembe. I don't know. I'm going to add the djembe to the marimba. Just a 4 on the floor beat, I think, could work. Let's try it. So when you're writing MIDI, always add a little bit of MIDI data of the volume stuff over here on the fader before you start performing it. It's just a good rule of thumb. Oops, recording the audio. Sorry, I didn't mean to be doing that. We're not ready to record it yet. So it's a little bit, you can see some of these tracks. All right, I'm going to talk about quantizing now. There are some super nerds out there who have went through all the sample libraries on Earth and calculated this sort of delay, the sample start and all that stuff. I don't think anybody should be bothering with any of that stuff. Just lock it to the grid, okay? Because this one, there's a little bit of a latency to this drum. Just make sure the MIDI is locked to the grid and then just shift it and use your ear. That's it. You don't have to get all technical with this stuff. Okay, you can see we're a little bit funky. So just get it till it's right and then move on. Sorry. Actually, this one doesn't have too much of a delay. Yeah, all right, it works. Ka-thunk, ka-thunk. Do you have a delay over there? Or does it sound like garbage? All right. I don't know. It's just that you're adding a nice little color to it. And I think I'm going to just add a little more verb to this stuff because it's sounding a little dry. Yeah. And because it's action music, I think we do, make it slightly more cinematic by adding just a little bit of a short string. So we're just trying to create the idea of what is this piece going to be. Those first few bars are going to set the tone for where we go. And this is the spiccato strings, from the strings ensemble core, which are my favorite. All right. I don't know. I'm just going to mess around. This is how I work. That and I didn't record it. Oops. This uhadi, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to. Cool. I forgot to add. I broke my own rule. I gotta add a little bit of that. And cool. So, again, with strings, drag it to the grid, quantize it to the grid, especially with something like this where it's really tight. And then just use your ear to shift it. Don't go crazy with well, it needs to be, 200 milliseconds early and all that. Blah, whatever. Use your ear. This is not. This one's not quite working for me. I thought it was a cool idea, but it's not. Unless I can do something a little bit more. Yeah, just leave it out. We're just going to do it. Okay. We're just setting that. We're trying to figure out what the heck is this? What are we going to write today? So the idea is for this game where it's a VR game where you're playing as a monkey. It's for gorilla tag and you're fighting. And we've established that the marimba is kind of the tone of the sound that we want to go with. Now, I hate to copy paste and I hate to suggest that to people, but it's okay because we're going to do something here. Let's keep the djembe going, but we're going to Now, I wish I had a percussionist, but I'm just a guy who plays keyboard. Does that work if I did something like that? Yeah, good. Kind of look at what we just did, and we'll do that. I think that's gonna work. And spiccato. This is the beginning of the battle, so we don't have to go crazy. No, we don't need to do that yet. Maybe that's all we need. We gotta like, this has got to be 3 minutes long, so you don't want to like. Just. We're gonna need a melody. We'll probably need a melody at some point here, but you know. We're kind of setting the backing track to the whole thing first. Does that work? I think it does. All right. I don't know. I forgot volume. Okay. Oh no, we forgot. We didn't do melody. No, that's not Drums of War 3. That's from this. It's from the South African collection. There's a djembe in there and stuff. Okay. Hi, Daniel. I don't know. What do we do now? It's definitely... a little shaker thing, maybe. Yeah, it just needed that high-end color in there. And I literally just play the whole thing. I could copy paste, but we'll get to doing something musically interesting, because right now this is just a pattern. Okay. Now I think we got to change up the pattern a little. Let's go. If you ever tried to compose something with 13 people watching you, it's a trip. something cute, something like, because this is kind of for kids, you know. I don't know. Let's see. Something cute like that. I lost my click, but you know, this is the idea. Is just put down whatever idea you have. Just immediately, just put it down. Just record it. Last one's got to be a different chord. And you know, you kind of fix any wrong notes if you performed it weird, which is often the case with me. So how do we quantize that? 16th notes, correct. You could do smart quantize. A lot of sequencers have that, but I don't like to. I don't trust it. I want to make sure it's right. Something, I don't know. This might be horrible. Let's just do that. Dum, bum, bum, bum. You know, and we're staying tonal. We're not going to go crazy with like this insane action music or something. Bum, 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 bum. Something like that. Okay. Oops. Yeah, okay. Now, you know, we gotta, that pattern, we kind of lost it, so we're gonna, right? It's a go. I screwed up the last thing. Now, you know what I'm going to do? Actually, I'm going to... Let's just use the soft mallets. Ah! Gosh. You have to be a little bit of a madman to be a composer. I mean, it's just like the same bars over and over again. If anybody else was listening, they'd be like, what's wrong with you? All right. I think All right, we got another bass line for. Okay. All right. I think that's it for our. I still think, like, musically speaking, it's just too boring. It's by the way, everything I'm doing right now, you really want to spend time on this because then you're gonna expand it to the rest of the cue. So. I think it's got to keep. It can't go back to C here. You know what I mean? This is basically 3 chords: C minor, A, and B flat. And I think it's gotta do this. Let me show you. I think this is good. So we're doing this. Trust me. I think that will work there. You know, we'll just repeat the bar basically. I mean, this is composing. You're going in and you're tweaking every little note, okay? There's no AI involved here, people. It's just a brain. Okay, good. We got our bass line. We're going to add our strings to it just to kind of, fill it out a little bit because that's kind of the tone of this game. We're not huge yet. We're all right. Hi, Sam. Yeah, I use Digital Performer, but only because it's what I've used forever. I've used it since 2003. And the principles are all the same, regardless of what sequencer you're using. I've tried using other sequencers. I've tried using Logic. I just couldn't quite wrap my head around it, just because maybe my brain is getting old. I don't know. But I think Cubase is also great. A lot of people use that one. There's a lot of sort of shortcut keys and things. I'm pretty fast with DP, and I think it's this hidden gem that people don't really know about Digital Performer. They don't tend to gravitate towards it. It's not one of the top 5 most popular, but I've used it forever, and they've always been great about updates and adding features, and it's just solid. I've never really had problems with it. So yeah, that's my unpaid plug for Digital Performer. Something like that. Here we go. Okay. Does it sound like music? How we doing? I'll go back to the beginning for those that are just joining so you can hear what we're doing. We're writing. This is an actual track for a game. This is a project that I'm working on. But here, this is how we are from the beginning. It's all the South Africa. Yeah, we need like something a little more interesting going on here. Oops. So just keep adding layers until it sounds like music. All right, we lost our percussion here, so let's keep that going like that. I think the same groove could work. We'll keep the, you know, I could also bring in some synth, like weird synth stuff. Let me try. Like, oh, that's for a different, that was for a different cue. That's not going to work for this. I'm going to just go through and we're going to delete all this stuff. And I'm going to bring in, there's one called, there's actually a marimba that is in here. That's part of, I think it's this one. Yeah, it's kind of cute, like, especially in the upper register. So let's use that. And we might be able to use that as a sort of a melodic instrument. Because what we're missing here, this is all accompaniment. We don't really have a melody. You need something like a tune or something. We'll just call this. I know this is actually the sound of the game, so. I just love the sound. It's like so simple and cool. I don't know. So, yeah, what we have right now is, I'm a huge fan of layering stuff. It really, like, I don't know why, it just kind of makes your music, it makes the production better. Just layer different sounds together, especially if you're working with samples. So we'll just do that. So, horns in the harmony of the melody be too much? Possibly. French horns are like, French horns are, they're my favorite thing ever. And there's such a huge temptation to just throw French horns into everything. But you got to save it. You really can't. Maybe later on as we grow, because we're going to build here. So this is, I know this sound is maybe not, you might think it's weird, but this is the sound of the game, that they love this particular instrument. All right. Okay. There needs to be other stuff going on here. I can hear it in my head, but it's really just about like, what do you hear in your head? And trying your best to like transcribe what's in your head and put it here. We're just gonna double this up. We'll do that. Oops. Son of a gun. Forgot what I wrote. Yeah, it was there's a weird like offbeat on the this is wrong. Bum, 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 bum. That's what the strings should do. Bum, 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 bum. Am I in the right octave? We're going to leave out that because we're going to put stuff there in a minute. All right. Cool. By the way, you guys can, I can see everything that you're saying. So if you want to type stuff, I'll respond. By the way, here's my whole, I'll kind of show you, this is my whole sequence. It's important to have a good monitor. So I've got a nice size monitor here, and so that's my whole screen. Just everything all in one place, right? So I can, I've got my, in DP, this is all the, so I can see all the stuff. This is all the instruments. I can scroll to what I want. I can search for what I want, if I just want to go, right, like that. Or I can just kind of go down to it, hit record. Down here is where you do all the MIDI editing. And then to the right, this is all the mixer view. And this is for altering the meter changes and tempos. And then your control bar. I don't have to switch to different windows. It's all right here. Very, very, makes my brain feel good. So let's get back to this. Whew. How much music did I write? We're at 44 seconds. We have 2 minutes and 15 seconds to write. I'm not going to finish that today. I think what I'm probably going to do is I'll just kind of get started with this first bit and send this to the client. That's usually what I do, and see what they think, and if I'm even in the right track or not. There's times where I just haven't been, and you just kind of start over again. But that's been pretty rare. These guys have been pretty happy with stuff. Like there should be like a crescendo thing, that kind of gets you, that's hinting towards what's to come. Like I think you can have some of that orchestral like stuff, but it's got to be like, you have to use it sparingly at the beginning. So let's try it. Let's do, you know, okay, low brass. I mean, fine. Let's just go. Let's go all in. Ah! Let me see if I can just see if this is a bad idea or not. That's the wrong sound. It's too bright and stuff. Let's just stick with this is just like it's just from Cinebrass. Just a subtle little thing, just, you know, kind of keep it building. And I think what I'll do is kind of copy paste. There's got to be something else going on here. Just something else that's just like echoing. And I'll double it with other things. Oh, let me answer your questions. What's the brief for this piece? Well, it's like an action. It's for Gorilla Tag. And the brief is we want to write it. You're battling other guys. You're battling other gorillas, and it's like a ranked game. I don't actually. I don't have any visual for this, but I kind of have a general idea of what it's going to look like. And you know, it's going to be in the forest map. I don't know if you play the game. It's sort of the main map, and there's a certain tone and color to that map that I've written music for already that uses a lot of these sounds. So that's why I'm using this sort of weird OBX marimba and stuff, because that's what they liked in the past. So I'm thinking that can kind of, you know, trigger that like acceptance. Like they go, yes, this is good. Hey, Noah Taylor. Guys, Noah Taylor, greatest orchestrator on earth, in my opinion. Go follow him. Would horns in the harmony of the lead melody? Yeah, no horns, I don't think. Not yet. How do you keep track of where you are harmonically? Yeah, good question. I mean, I just look at the, if you can see down here, I just look at the piano scroll view. And I can kind of see what's happening. I've gotten good at, so I'm a pianist. I can read music fairly well, and over the years I've made the transition from reading notation, old school music notation, and now I can kind of sight read this piano scroll view. So I can kind of look at this and I can see what's happening. I could play that. This, I don't know if you can see what I'm looking at. Let me scroll it over. So these little dots, I can see what's happening. You know, I can. You know, basically, you know, and I know if I did that before, I can kind of play another part on top of that, basically while that's playing, to remind me. Sometimes I mess up and whatever, but you just. You know, this could. Let's just add a little brass accent to that bar 11. Play the right notes. Just because it kind of crescendos into nothing. you know, it's nice to have a little articulation that hits the last note. All right, this is we gotta be going here. This is not this. I don't know. We'll have to get away from these 3 chords at some point, so that's interesting. I'm just messing around right now. Something like that. There's got to be. The strings need to be doing something that's adding. I always default to doing that kind of stuff, and I'm trying to not. You know, you have like an ostinato that just plays, and then all the music is like, it's such a easy thing to do, and I try to like stretch myself to not just do that. I'll just do that. We're just gonna do that. It's it, because there's all this other stuff going on. I think it's pretty good. We might not even... I'll quantize it. Why not? You know, I've seen a lot of... Like, seems to... a lot of people talking about to quantize or not to quantize. I don't think anything in music has a perfect answer, you know. But generally, I would say short strings. Yeah, quantize it. Especially if you're doing this kind of stuff. This is very... Gosh, this is going to be stuck in my head. Should we do like a flute or something? We can do that, but I think you know, again, I always go back to the ensemble patches, man. Okay, so what I'm doing right now, as you can see, I'm like... So my whole theme here is how to write fast. And there's a tendency sometimes to think vertically. You could think vertically, you could think horizontally, or you could think vertically. And a lot of times we could spend so much time just kind of like focusing on the vertical and, you know, not actually getting anywhere. And that's a trap. It's kind of, and I'm in that trap right now, as you can see. I'm trying to think about how I can color this melody and, you know, get all crazy. Like, you really want to stretch yourself to push this way. You know, you want to keep adding more music. That's such an obvious thing, I know. I feel like I'm saying such obvious things, but like... There we go. Having said that, I'm going to do it anyway. You know, the woodwinds kind of help because it's like we're going for this kind of African thing. And woodwinds, for some reason, that works. I don't know. Let me... I'm just going to mess around and add some like weird stuff. All right. You know what? Actually, da-da-da-da-da. Could be a little echo in there, you know? That works, right? Let's keep going to the right here. Let's add more music. All right. It's musically pretty simple, right? There's nothing... It's actually, you know, it has a purpose. It needs to do something. And music should be simple in these contexts. If it's too complicated... First of all, this game is played by, like, 12-year-olds. Not to say 12-year-olds aren't sophisticated. I mean, I have a 12-year-old. He's sometimes sophisticated, sometimes not. But it's good to keep it simple. All right. I don't know what to do here. I kind of feel like I need to send this to the client to make sure I'm in the right direction. That's what I'm feeling right now. And I'm also hungry, and I need to eat lunch. So let's record it. Let's record what we have. And we'll do a quick mastering pass on this. And, you know, I'll see you guys again tomorrow. But here we go. Let's record this. And this is a good level. I don't know if you can see. You don't want the waveform too big. Sorry, this is wrong. Oh, this happens all the time when I'm like recording something and then I go, I'm done. And then I find something. That's okay. Yeah. Yep, good. Okay. Okay. I tend to record just a little bit before the downbeat. By the way, my downbeats are always bar 3. That's just a good standard. You know, you never know. One day you might record this with a real group. You want those 2 bars of rest so they have a click track. But I just tend to record a little bit before the downbeat just so there's some silence there. That pulley stick is not quite right. It's slightly off. I don't know if you can hear it. It's okay. It's got to lock in, you know? Like, it's not just about quantizing. You got to move stuff until it's perfect. Okay. So it's a groove. Like, that's what we're trying to create here. Is this the vibe we're going for? Is this what we want for this action music, you know? I think it could be fun. Unless, you know, I don't know. I could have just done generic action music, but I don't think that's the right move here. All right. So I record it like, this is my philosophy. Just record it well. Make sure it sounds good without any plugins, without all the EQ and all that. Everyone just gets really obsessed with like EQs and all these plugins and stuff. You don't need to, really. I don't know if I'm alone on that. It needs to sound good from the samples themselves. We spent a lot, at least in Musio. Like, we have like the world's best engineers designing the sound of these things. So they do sound pretty good out of the box. And it's best to make those decisions with the samples themselves. If you need more high end, we'll try adding a little bit of a high end percussion to it. instead of just tweaking an EQ. I feel like it's kind of like the music itself should be good first, and then all that other stuff can come later. I don't really use EQ for a lot of stuff. I just record it, getting it sounding as good as I can. I'm not an engineer, but I get it to sound as decent as I can, and then I do the, Ozone is great. I've yikes. Sorry, am I overblowing your speakers? That needs some work, but we'll get there. That's pretty good. So now I'll just, I'm going to bounce it to my projects folder here. And because it's just the beginning, I tend to just do an MP3. Look, this is for the client, right? I'm going to either email it or text it to them. That's it. So don't send a big fan like, oh, it's going to be 24-bit and blah, blah, blah. No, just send an MP3. It's okay. Are we in the right universe here, at least? That's what we want to figure out. So we'll do that. And we're going to bounce it. And I don't know how long we've been going here, but maybe an hour. But we wrote about 47 seconds of music in an hour. I think that's pretty decent. I had to pause to show you a few things, but I think it's pretty good place. Let's see if I can. Where's my bounces? And yeah, so there's the MP3, and I'll send that off to the client, and I'll report back. I'll see if they like it, and and I think that's always a good thing too, is like just start your idea. There's something about like bringing the client into your process where they can kind of like get an idea of like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Here's the start of the direction I think might work. And then they can kind of like, you want to make sure that they feel like they're part of it. Instead of just being like, here's the cue, here's the whole piece, good luck with, Because then you have also, like, if you spend all this time on 3 minutes of music, it's wasted effort if it's wrong. So, all right, I think I'm going to call it a day for now. This was kind of the first time I've done this in a long time, so I appreciate you guys tuning in. And, I really appreciate this Discord community. If you guys aren't a member of the Discord, please join. There's a lot of really awesome people there. We do talk about Musio, but really it's not specifically Musio-centric. We talk about composition and all other plugins as well. So go check that out. Here it is. The Musio Discord. I think there's a link below in the comments there, in the description. So we'll see you then. I'll do this tomorrow. I'm aiming for 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it'll be 10 a.m. if you're on Pacific Time. If you're in the UK, what is that? Add 5 hours, about 6-ish, 7 o'clock, depending on where you are in Europe. So anyway, I hope that was cool. Thanks for joining. I kind of like, this was good for me to do this and get back into this. I haven't done this in a while. Composing. It's like showering in front of people, but I think it's going to be pretty good. All right. That's it. I'll see y'all later. Have a good day.